We can't have human rights if we don't have a functioning, healthy planet. Food, water, and air, you can't have those if your planet is collapsing. We should have coffee that is a living income without rape, without slavery, without child labor. We should have coffee that has gender equality, that has workers' rights. I think the perfect is the enemy of the good. And the most important thing is don't be sad, don't be mad, don't beat yourself up. Just do great things going forward.
Sabrosura patique.
Welcome back to Café con Pam, the bilingual podcast que celebra the power of stories, the medicine in our voices, and the magic of reclaiming who we are. Esta semana, I had the absolute honor of sitting down with someone who's taken on one of the most powerful industries in the world. Y la neta del planeta, after this conversation, I will never look at my morning coffee the same way again. I haven't, actually, since then. Meet Etelle Higonnet. She is the founder and director of Coffee Watch, a watchdog organization dedicated to ending deforestation and slavery in the global coffee industry. Así como lo oyes, slavery. En el año 2025, in coffee, let's let that sit for a second. Etelle is a graduate of Yale Law School. She's an attorney, an environmental and human rights activist who's worked at Human Rights Watch, Amnesty International, Greenpeace, and Mighty Earth. She's worked in over 30 countries, habla 9 idiomas, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9 languages. And she was knighted as, I'm not going to say it because I can't speak French. She was given an award in France, in her home country of France, for her pioneering work curbing deforestation in cocoa, rubber, palm oil, and cattle. Ahora, she's taken on coffee. En abril del 2025, Etelle and Coffee Watch filed groundbreaking legal action against Starbucks and petitioned the U.S. Customs to block Brazilian coffee tainted by slavery from entering the U.S. We're talking about thousands of workers, including children, trapped in conditions the Brazilian government defines as slavery. We're talking about forests the size of Honduras disappearing for coffee production. And we're talking about an industry that's gotten away with this for decades porque nadie was watching close enough. Pero Etelle was watching. And in this conversation, she is pulling back the curtain for us. En este episodio, you're going to learn why that morning cup of coffee is connected to some of the most urgent human rights and environmental crises of our time. You're also going to learn what it actually takes to fight billion-dollar corporations and stay grounded in your purpose when the opposition is massive, and how to hold the complexity of being complicit in broken systems while still taking meaningful action. También, we're going to talk about the moment that changed everything for her. Trigger warning. She was held at gunpoint in Guatemala as a teenager, and how that terror transformed into a lifelong commitment to justice. La neta, la verdad, for those of us raised to stay quiet, to be nice, to not make waves, Etelle's story is permission to let our anger become clarity. This is why when I learned about her, I was like, please, let's get her on Café con Pam. If you've ever wondered how to align your choices with your values without burning out, or how one person can actually create systemic change, or what it means to use your voice when it's dangerous to speak up, este episodio es para ti. Sin más, aquí está mi conversación con la increíble Etelle Higonnet. Etelle, welcome to Café con Pam.
It's wonderful to be here with you. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, I'm excited to dive into our conversation. There's so much that I want to talk about, but the first question we always ask is, what is your heritage?
What is my heritage? So I am half French, half American, and my father is actually half Hungarian, half French. So I'm a bit of a mix. And my husband is Brazilian, but we live in Copenhagen, and I met him in West Africa, and we lived a long time in Cambodia. It's but I think, yeah, I feel that France is home, like Paris feels like home.
Is that where you grew up?
Mostly. My parents are a bit nomadic, so they made me move almost every year to a different country. So we ended up living in 8 countries, but we came back to France cyclically. So it would be like a ping pong game, ding, France, ding, France, ding.
Are you an only child?
I have a half sister and a half brother. My half sister is really like a second mom to me. She's amazing.
She's
She's
older?
like yes meow. She's like 20 years older than I am. I'm sort of an accident outlier, last child from the last marriage. But yeah, my brother's also 18 years older than me.
Wow. So it was really you and your parents hopping.
Yes, yes, yes. And they're not, spies or circus performers or anything exciting. They're just very peripatetic academics.
For sure, for sure. How was it for young you to live in a different country every year?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I think it really shaped me a lot. It definitely taught me in this deep way that people experience the world and see the world in such different ways, and all are valid and considered to be completely normal. And you
Mhm.
have to sort of adapt. And if you don't, you
Mm.
won't have any friends and you'll have a very bad year. But then, as you keep moving and learning and adapting, I think I started to see this kind of beauty and the diversity and I treasure now the fact that when I was younger, I don't think I would have said I treasured it.
Right.
I think I even went on a hunger strike one time to protest that we were moving. But now that I'm older, I'm so grateful that I got to see how all these different cultures worked and learn different languages. I think learning a language is kind of like opening a window into the soul of a country. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, so I'm grateful, I guess.
You speak 9 languages.
I do, but some of them very badly. So we lived in Spain when I was little. I became fluent. My parents just like threw me into a local school, sink or swim. And I also worked in Mexico and Guatemala and the Dominican Republic and Bolivia. But my husband's Brazilian, and we speak a lot of Portuguese at home. And it's almost like that has taken over my Spanish, and now I try to speak Spanish and it comes out as portuñol, this like weird
Portuñol, I was
mix.
gonna say, you speak Portuñol now.
I do. I do. It's just, I think maybe if I could like go back to Mexico and spend a solid month doing nothing but Spanish immersion, we could triage the Portuguese out of that drawer of my brain. But right now it's like a very mixed salad.
I think the Portuñol is like a thing. I have a friend who's a native Spanish speaker, and she was with a Brazilian, so she speaks Portuguese. But, like, even me having conversations with her in Spanish, and sometimes I'm like, "That's not Spanish." And she's like, "Portuñol just comes out," you know? So, I don't know. I think
That's so
once you blend
funny.
the 2, they're so similar that
Well, Pam, I'm like your friend
yeah,
then.
like, they're so similar that your brain's just like, "Eh, you'll understand. It's fine."
Yeah, and also some of the languages I learned Arabic when I was working in, like, Iraq and Lebanon doing human rights work, and my Arabic has gotten so bad since then, I'm so ashamed. Once when we were living in Southeast Asia, the only way to fly home, like, relatively cheaply to see my in-laws in Brazil was to transit through Qatar, because
Okay.
Qatar Airways, I guess, is, like, trying to make its flights cheaper, to attract people there, and then bid to get visibility for their country or whatever, and I tried to order food, and it was very slow, and I was worried I was gonna miss my connection. And so I went up there and I was like, I have a very late pizza. And they all looked at me and they're like, you have mental problems. And I realized I wasn't saying it
That's
right.
funny. But did you get your pizza?
I did. I got my pizza and my flight.
There we
It
go.
was like the only vegetarian thing that I could find quickly, although not so quickly, but yeah, I made it.
Yes, for sure. That would be a challenge, but you made it happen. So, tell me the story about Guatemala. How you were in your teens when this happened.
Oh, it was such a moving, important, life-changing experience. When I was in uni, I had this professor named Greg Grandin who worked a lot on Guatemala, and he sort of inspired me to go and helped me get an internship with this thing called the National Coordinating Office of Refugees and Displaced People. This was like right after the peace accords were signed and people were coming back who had fled the war or the genocide, which was targeting Indigenous people at that time during the Dirty War. Um, and wow, I think I had never really gotten so up close and personal with violence and repression. And I was so young and so naive and probably so stupid, ma'am. But it schooled me. I learned a lot, and it filled me with a fiery passion to fight for human rights.
So tell us what happened, because listeners don't know the story.
Yeah, I was working with NCORD. There was this thing, Dia del Ejército, the Day of the Army, and I went to work, and it was so scary. I got like pulled out of this bus. Well, it's my fault, really. On the bus, these army guys were harassing an old dude. I was like, "What is going on? You shouldn't be doing that. That's outrageous. He's old." And then, of course, they like grabbed me. I thought they were gonna rape me. They pulled my clothes, burst some of my buttons. I was so scared. I was like crying. I was a hot mess. I managed to get to this building where our office was. It was this hideously ugly big orange building in the center of downtown Guatemala, for your listeners who have been to Guatemala City.
Mhm.
And yeah, the whole way was really frightening. There's just all this stuff happening with soldiers in the street, and it felt, frankly, kind of terrifying going past some of the groups of guys who were very aggressive. And then I was crying by the time I made it to the office building and didn't realize that it was sort of eerily empty because I was so self-absorbed and naive and dumb. I go to the flight of stairs into the mezzanine right before our flight, and then there were these two men in black with like flak jackets and balaclavas and assault rifles. And I was like, oh, I just threw everything I had and put my hands in the air.
Oh
It's
my
like on
gosh.
the mezzanine, like, what do I do? Do I go up? Do I go down? There's no such thing as cell phones at the time in my
Right.
life, anyways. Maybe like drug dealers or doctors had them. I did not. And yeah, I was scared out of my mind. I thought, have they killed my colleagues? I have to like go and see what if somebody's like bleeding out in the office, or also I'm like scared to leave the building. So I finally just put my hands down and started like shuffling past those guys into our office. Fine, there was nobody there. Totally unnecessary for me to have done that. The dudes actually left.
Why were they there?
I think they were there to intimidate the NCORD office, which actually they were all. I don't know how I'd missed the memo, but yeah, nobody else came until later. But I think it was definitely to intimidate the NCORD staff, not me. I'm like a useless little intern, like the real staff, I think.
Yeah. So many questions.
Well, because,
So
at the time, the resettlement process to resettle people who had fled, it was primarily to help Indigenous communities that had been targeted during the genocide. So it was seen as very political and kind of like left-wing and dubious by right-wingers and people who were still fond of the military dictatorships policies and who saw efforts to aid Indigenous people as like subversive, I think. And so, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was a decision to intimidate head court.
yeah. So this moment happens. You're held at gunpoint. You get away. And do you call your parents? Like, how do you deal with it?
I cried. Then I think some of like the older real staff came and they calmed me down and I chilled out and made it home. And I think I had like the better part of a bottle of wine, maybe.
Yeah, for sure.
The team was amazing, and I had a great summer with them, and they really guided me a lot in life. The things that they told me have been sort of like my North Star: courage, solidarity, persistence, perseverance, being strategic, be careful, but be brave.
Mm. You were super young, and
Yes.
that shaped, like, could we say that that shaped the trajectory of your life?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I just thought it's crazy that this can happen. And also, not what happened to me because that's peanuts, but all the things that happened to people who had fled and then were returning,
Yeah.
the more I learned about what happened to them, the more I thought, oh my God, this is so gruesome. Like, how can humans do this to one another? This is unspeakable. And it cannot be allowed to happen again. Of course, it happens all the time. It's happening like in Sudan right now, for example. But also, we need justice for what happened and accountability. We need to have more and more like rules and systems to protect people from this kind of widespread human rights abuses. We need to have rapid alert response systems for genocide and pre-genocide situations. And yeah, it changed my life.
So you were in university. Did it change your studies? Did you
Yes,
switch?
yes. It did, it did. Yeah, I wrote a paper about that for my senior thesis, and my mentor was this super amazing guy named Ben Kiernan. He's one of the top genocide scholars in the world.
Wow.
He worked a lot on the Cambodian genocide, but he's not just a scholar. He actually has dedicated the better part of his life not only to becoming an incredible scholar and writing super smart articles and books, but also to building a community of activists who study and try to prevent genocide and understand why it happened to prevent it from happening again or help it wind down, and also to get accountability for what
Mm,
happened. Ben Kiernan is like a legend, and I hear so yeah, choosing him as my thesis advisor, that was definitely because of my job in Guatemala. And again, people like him. Wow, if you're just lucky enough to have like a bodhisattva in your life like that, then of course it changes you, right?
totally. One of the things that you said was you realized we weren't going to have any human rights on a dead planet. And it's a profound reframing where when I read that, I found that connecting us to our human dignity and also to environmental justice. So, when it comes to the shift to human rights work, was it that moment in Guatemala or was it the things that happened throughout your journey?
I think that I was really interested in human rights ever since I was small, but that moment in Guatemala was when I decided this is what I want to work on for my whole life. And then a couple years later, I think like really 12 years later, it just hit me.
Wow.
We can't have human rights if we don't have a functioning, healthy planet. Like,
Mhm.
you can go 3 weeks without eating food. You can go maybe 3 days, I think, without drinking water. And I don't know, most people can probably go like 3 minutes without breathing air.
Mm,
And food, water, and air, you can't have those if your planet is collapsing. It's our life support system on Earth. uh, Sorry, our life support system in the universe is this beautiful little Earth as we like hurtle through the infinity of space. We need water, we need air, and not just like even billionaires. Even billionaire they can insulate themselves from a lot of things, but everyone needs to breathe, and we all share the same air. Like, I
mhm.
guess you could go live in an underground cave for the rest of your life if
Yeah,
you're a
but
billionaire, but that would be pretty miserable. Then why did you, like, make all those billions? Isn't it better to heal the planet and maintain human civilization sort of so that we can all thrive? You know, what is it that Benjamin Franklin said? If if we go separately, we will all hang. If we hang together, no, I'm so dumb. I can't remember. Ben Franklin said something about if we're all separated, we will hang separately, but if we hang together, we can
we'll
make
go
it.
far.
I think,
Yeah,
yeah, that's what he said.
for sure. I think it's if you wanna go fast, go alone. If you wanna go far, go together.
Yes, that's also right. Honestly, a lot of these problems about healing our planet, saving ecosystems before it's too late, these are enormous, big, big, not intractable, but thorny and complex problems which can't be fixed by one person
Mm,
or one organization or even one government usually. We need to all pull together in order to make it for the long haul, for sure.
totally. So you studied law, so you're a lawyer.
Mhm.
Why didn't you become like a human rights activist or just go straight to working in nonprofit? What moved you into law?
And this sounds so naive again, but I really thought that I was gonna be able to, as a lawyer, hold people accountable for
Mm.
atrocities, and I wanted to bring justice to victims. Little did I realize that's, like, not usually how the law works. Mostly the law works to protect big corporations' bottom lines and
Yeah.
keeps, like, war criminals from ever having to face a day in jail.
Was it disappointing for you to find out?
Yes, I was like, "What? There's a difference between justice and the law?" That was so
Yeah.
silly.
How did you reconcile?
Well, I did learn that the law is often not good for the
Mm.
planet, and in many cases is not great for the poorest and most vulnerable amongst us, and that the law really stacks things in favor of the super rich. But I also learned that you can use the law to fight for Mother Earth and for people who are vulnerable, and that you can change the law. It's hard, and you're definitely kind of an underdog and a little bit of a David and Goliath situation, and you're probably gonna fail a lot, but you can do it. It is worth trying.
As a woman and someone who is kind of like moving against the grain because like you just shared, the law is not for the earth. The law is built it's written to favor those who perhaps have the money or the funds or whatever. And you've taken a lot of fights against big industries: cocoa, rubber, palm oil, cattle, soy, and now coffee.
Yes.
And I'm curious, with that, what happened in Guatemala, were you ever like afraid of like, oh my gosh, I'm like over here trying to take the big people. Could this happen again? Or did that just give you the fuel to be like, all right, we're gonna make this happen?
I am scared all the time.
Hmm.
I have been scared so many times in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think, you know, some people are born just being brave, and I'm not really one of those people, but we can all make ourselves become brave.
Mm,
And even if you find things scary, you can just grit your teeth and say like, "All right, it's scary. I'm scared. I'm gonna try anyways."
because there's a greater purpose, no?
Yeah. And for sure, I'm always scared about getting sued in a slap suit or having, like the coffee industry, we go up against big companies, but also a lot of coffee grown in narco states. People
Mm-hmm.
places like
Mm-hmm.
Chiapas or parts of Colombia that are really controlled by narcos or very repressive dictatorships. And yeah, so will someone just like want to shoot me or, hack me or like, I don't know, do some weird artificial intelligence deep fakes? Unfortunately, jaguars don't have a very big lobby. Just like the whales, they don't really have a lobby. But yeah, coffee companies like big oil and all, they have a huge lobby. In my spare time, I'm on the board of an organization called Climate Defiance that fights against like carbon bombs, these big fossil fuel projects, and tries to hold government folks accountable for bad decisions on fossil fuels and shame them when they have like a bad position on climate. That's always scary too. Lots of those people are so famous, so powerful.
Have you ever had a conversation with one of those very powerful people where you actually sit down and ask them, why do you do this, knowing that you're killing all of us? Have you had that
Um,
opportunity?
I've been to a lot of protests in my life, many, many. So I guess you're kind of saying that when you go and you protest, isn't it? And then I've had a lot of meetings with companies and executives of corporations that arguably are doing really harmful things to the planet. But in general, I try to be very solution oriented. When you get a meeting with a C suite executive of a planet destroying company, typically those meetings are hard to get and rare. And if they are willing to talk to you, it's usually because you're in some sort of a negotiation to see if they'll change their policy and go for like no deforestation or no exploitation of people or set up a grievance mechanism so that people can file complaints and then deal with those grievances in a reasonable way, or allow unions instead of trying to like harass or threaten people who try to organize for better conditions. And so usually, those meetings tend to be tense,
Mm.
difficult, but not rude. You're fighting over the issues, but you try to do it as quickly and constructively as possible so you can get as much as you can for change, like for real reforms that will help people and planet.
Do you recall a meeting, one of those meetings with executives in a corporation where you were thinking like, we're not going to get anywhere, but you
Yes.
did?
I remember a meeting with a palm oil executive who told me that palm oil trees are trees. So cutting down forests to put a palm oil plantation isn't deforestation.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, well
Interesting.
then, this meeting isn't going to be very productive, I think. But then, there was a huge campaign against that company. And they changed their mind. Not, I think, out of the goodness of their heart because they suddenly decided like, "Oh, I love orangutans and rhinos, and I am so sorry that I was killing all those
Yeah, no.
endangered animals," but more like because they were upset that they were being criticized in the front page of a lot of media and losing business and getting angry phone calls from their B2B clients.
That's wild. How long was that meeting?
It was only like 40 minutes. They were rude. Yeah, it was short and unproductive. But, persistence is the name of the game, right? You do like a huge campaign and you can turn the company around and have a very different meeting a couple months later.
Because ultimately, I think with what I'm hearing from that is that at the end of the day, the people do have the power.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Because many times people are like, "No, they're the people in power, they have the money, they're like other people lobbying,"
Oh, no.
but the boycotts and the protests and
Yeah.
all of that works.
Oh, 100%. It's hard. It's hard work, but it works. And Pam, the way to think about it is like, yes, a lot of planet destroying companies have millions of dollars, but actually we have millions of people.
Together, yeah.
And that is amazing. That's very powerful. I have seen companies change because of tweet storms. I have seen companies change because of protests. I have seen companies change because of an expose in the media.
Mm.
Here's a good example of like something that should give your listeners hope. Everybody listening should feel immense power and hope and not despair. Don't feel despair. I was fighting with a chocolate company. They like never had a campaign against them before for their deforestation for cocoa. They didn't even really think it was a problem. And they
Wow.
certainly were not prepared to try to fix the problem by transitioning from monoculture cocoa to like beautiful regenerative agroforestry cocoa where you put lots of trees in and around the cocoa to shade the cocoa. Cocoa is happy. Cocoa actually turns out to love trees.
Exactly.
Cocoa hearts trees.
Yes.
The soil is happy, then the cocoa's happy because the soil is happy. Okay, it's great. Everybody is happy. Farmers are happy because if you do it right, you can have food security trees in there and income diversification trees in there, so you're not just hostage to the vicissitudes of market shocks. If you're monocropping cocoa and you have a
Mhm.
good year on the market, great, but if the prices fall, you're screwed. So it's good for farmers, it's good for nature. And this company just could not give an SHIT. They just like were just so uninterested. They wouldn't even really talk to us about this at all.
What is an HSIT?
A shit. They didn't give a shit. They didn't give a hoot. They didn't give a hoot. I'm
Oh,
sorry. I
an
didn't give.
SHIT, duh. Okay.
I'm sorry. Because I have a toddler,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
my husband and I have started to like spell out swear words so that he doesn't.
I got it. I don't know if it was like I didn't connect them, and then I was like, "Wait, is that a term that we" okay, got it. They didn't care.
It's just me being a mom trying to be a less of a potty mouth mom.
It's all good. Okay, so they didn't care.
No, this company was totally indifferent. And then some friends who have a petition site helped start a beautiful petition. And we got well over 100,000 signatures in like 2 days, I think. And suddenly the company wanted to talk. Call, emails, oh, talking my homework, can't believe we didn't get all your messages before, but now we'd love to chat with you about stopping our deforestation and creating an agroforestry policy.
100,000 signatures did it.
The petition just changed them. They had never had a petition. I think when companies are more visible and large and across multiple commodities and issues, they tend to have more campaigns against them, and then they become slightly hardened. They'll get like they'll lawyer up, they'll get a crisis communications team. It becomes a bit harder to crack the nut. But for a company that's a novice that hasn't experienced a campaign, like one big solid petition can change them.
Wow.
And even for a titanic juggernaut that's, you can change them. They change.
They stopped their deforestation.
This chocolate company, within 6 months, they had really developed a great no deforestation policy and a time-bound implementation plan and satellite monitoring. And they'd started this whole thing to allocate millions of dollars to transitioning farmers from monoculture to agroforestry and do pilots and work with other companies at landscape level with the government. It was like a huge
It's
change.
big.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Not perfect. Not like they were like amazing and I would, buy their chocolate because I think it's so ethical. But
Yeah.
sometimes the biggest change, Pam, is from a 0 F minus to like a C minus. That change is almost bigger than a C minus to an A minus, right?
For sure. How did we get into the coffee industry?
Oh, it's one of the top 7 drivers of deforestation in the world.
Okay, I'm gonna pause you right there. Let's take a quick coffee break. Let's
Oh,
give them
yes.
a little quick teaser.
Yes.
Sabrosura pa' tu que.
Okay, so Etelle, do you drink coffee?
I do. I am addicted. Do you drink coffee too?
Of course I do. I have it right here. I haven't had it today because I'm still drinking my chia
Oh, there
water,
you go. Okay.
but it's still early for me. How do you drink your coffee?
I am extremely lucky. Every morning, my husband makes me a little oat milk latte and he brings it to me. It's the best
That's
thing in the
awesome.
whole world. I'm so lucky. He's the best husband.
And a good barista, apparently.
And a good barista. It's so funny because he's into it, and so then my little son got so into it too that he wanted to always play with the machine, and he's like breaking it. So we got him this little tiny toy espresso machine. It's like next to his dad's big machine, and he makes espresso for you.
That's very cute. That's very cute. Do you drink 1 cup a day?
I try to limit myself to 2. If I'm feeling extremely virtuous and I've slept a lot and my toddler has not kept me up at night, I'll try to do 1. I've, in my life, however, gone up to, like, unhealthy amounts, like 4 or 5 cups a day when I was working
Wow.
in Iraq. Yeah. But I feel, like, tired and wired when I do too much coffee. It doesn't do good things for my body. 1 cup a day is perfect.
Yeah, I do 1.5, maybe 2, pushing it. For
Do you
sure.
get that thing too where you're, like, jittery if you do too much coffee?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I also don't sleep, like, it does affect me,
Oh, yeah.
and I get, like, anxious, like, "Oh, I don't know what's happening right
Yeah.
now." Yeah.
Me too, me too. I start my mind starts racing. It's like, "Climate change, climate change."
Yeah. Run! Yeah, for sure. Um, so do you l of course, you drink lattes. Do you have another type of brewing method that you enjoy?
I'm so boring. I just, completely am reliant on my husband's largesse.
On on his latte? Nice.
Pretty much exclusively what he makes for me.
Nice.
It's so true. I mean, sometimes when I go out, I'll have, like, whatever seems to be, in the restaurant or cafe or but I've also found that if I drink, like, past 10 or 11 in the morning, that I can't sleep at night. So
Wow.
I really just drink that early morning coffee with my hubby, and then if it's, like, later than that, I try to be very self-disciplined and deny myself even if I want it.
It's a big deal. My cutoff is 1 o'clock. Like, that's
Yeah,
very much pushing it.
yeah.
Ideally, 11 noon.
Coffee is a drug. It's a very powerful drug. It's basically, I think it's the number one drug that is easily available and beloved around the world.
Totally.
And it's so emotionally and physically important for people. Like, I can't function. I get headaches without coffee. It's a real drug. I think apparently people are more likely to drink coffee in America than they are to pray, exercise. And there are more Starbucks than public libraries, something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, we're addicted to coffee. Coffee is like a very powerful drug. It's emotionally and physically, we are wound into it, if you will.
Mhm.
It's also like, if you think about it, if I say, "Hey, Pam, like, let's go hang out, let's grab a coffee," what it really means is I just want to see you and chat, doesn't it? It doesn't mean we're actually going to have, you might have a croissant, I might have like a smoothie,
It's the culture.
but it's shorthand for I kind of love you and I want to see you and
Mhm.
talk and hang, you
Mhm.
know?
Let's meet somewhere and hang out. Yeah. Wow. Speaking of coffee, let's get back to the show and talk about all the things because researching this interview, some things were what I knew some of them, but some of them I was like, oh, okay, let's get back to the show. If you've started making your cafecitos at home to get on with that morning routine and build the habit of saving money, it could be a good strategy. Pero there might be an easier way to save. Did you know that if you open a new savings builder account at BMO, you can earn a $5 reward every month you grow your balance by $200 or more during the first year? Learn more about how BMO can help you grow your savings by visiting bmo.com/save. bmo.com/save. Conditions apply. Accounts provided in the United States by BMO Bank and a member FDIC. Let's talk about something we all deserve: financial empowerment. Whether you're tackling debt, planning for retirement, or starting that dream business, navigating your finances can feel overwhelming. But it doesn't have to be, thanks to Savvy Ladies. Savvy Ladies is a nonprofit organization dedicated to helping women like you take control of your financial future. They offer free resources, webinars, and my favorite, a free financial helpline where you can connect one on one with trusted financial experts. And yes, it's completely free. Whether you're just starting your financial journey or need guidance on a specific challenge, Savvy Ladies is here to provide quality and trusted advice you can count on. So why wait? Visit savvyladies.org today and connect with the financial helpline to get the personalized support you deserve. Your journey to financial independence starts here. That is savvyladies.org. Your path to financial freedom can start today. I mean, I have so many stats wild about coffee, but there's a hidden cost in our coffee cup. So right
Yes.
before this, we were in the coffee break and we talked about the culture of coffee, how we just say, let's go grab a cup of coffee. So coffee is the sixth largest driver of deforestation globally, and millions of children work in coffee harvesting. This
Yeah.
means that most of us have been unknowingly consuming coffee tied to child labor, slavery, and deforestation our entire lives. Oh,
I
so
know, it's so grim. I'm sorry.
I know. I mean, it landed when I read this, I was like, whoa,
I know. But the good news is we can change that.
exactly. So, how do you hold that reality without being paralyzed by it and just being like, I'm just going to quit coffee completely?
Oh, sometimes I do feel slightly paralyzed. No wonder you're such a successful host. You kind of like know, maybe are you telepathic or something? I don't know. No, sometimes I do feel a little bit paralyzed. It feels overwhelming, you know?
Yeah.
It is the number 6 driver of deforestation in the world. That's the whole reason I started Coffee Watch, Because, when I was working at Greenpeace and then Mighty Earth and National Wildlife Federation, everybody that focuses on the environment knows that we need forests to make it as a species on planet Earth. And we're not doing totally great to stop deforestation.
Yeah.
There's a lot of victories, and they're important and beautiful, and we should all take note because then we can replicate them and grow them, right? But we're also not doing super great, if I'm honest with you, on this deforestation front. And in particular, what I saw when I worked in palm oil and cattle and soy is that the biggest positive changes happen when campaigning really shines a bright light on the bad abuses and prompts governments to tighten the screws and do a lot more
Mm,
to fix the situation. And when campaigns can get huge industry behemoths to change, it can be like a domino effect where, one huge company will change and then they become almost an ally because they don't want other companies to do what they no longer can do. And
mm,
suddenly you see like a domino happening in the industry, and then that reinforces the government's decisions to do better on law enforcement and pass slightly amended, improved laws. Because instead of fighting the industry, now the industry is like asking them to do, or at least part of the industry is asking for that good reform. So I think having seen that vital role that campaigns played in changing palm oil, which used to be so much worse, and now we've really had huge improvements on deforestation in palm oil. Seeing all the good stuff that happened, like in the Brazilian Amazon for soy, even though
mhm.
in other parts of Latin America it's a disaster, in the Brazilian Amazon it's amazing. Seeing how these campaigns that I started and helped to shape, at Mighty Earth on cocoa and rubber kind of helped to transform the cocoa and rubber industries, I thought, "Oh, okay, we should do this for coffee. We can't have the number 6 driver of deforestation in the world with, not a single watchdog working on this. We
Totally.
have to have at least one small NGO working on this issue because hopefully that will create impetus for change and make bad behavior like deforestation and degrading grasslands and peatlands and stuff. Hopefully it'll make it uncomfortable and expensive, and then industry change, and then law enforcement changes, better laws get passed."
It's wild. So I'm gonna keep going down the facts because there's so many. um, so you talked about Brazil. In 1996, Brazilian authorities have rescued nearly 3,700 workers from slavery-like conditions in coffee farms, even though they've only inspected 0.1% of Brazil's 200,000 coffee farms.
That's right.
0.1%. So, what do you think is hiding the other 99%? And why has this taken so long for legal action to be on this? Because you weren't doing
I think probably there's way more modern slavery and debt bondage and horrific working conditions and child labor than we have documented because we've only been investigating a very small percentage. I
Mhm.
think if you investigated 1% of the farms, would you find an order of magnitude more? If we went from 0.1% investigations to 1% investigations, would we go from 3,700? I think it's now 3,800 actually.
Well,
3,800 slaves to 30,800 slaves?
ugh.
If we investigated 10% of the farms, would we find 300,000? Maybe not. Maybe we would, but I think we would find many thousands more cases of modern slavery and debt bondage and really, really bad abuses. And I think for sure what we know is extraordinarily widespread is that farm workers are treated like garbage.
Mhm.
They get
Mhm.
very little money. They don't have a lot of voice. Under Temer and Bolsonaro, the unions in general in Brazil were attacked, in particular in coffee. And so they don't really have good representation for workers to be able to uplift, their own grievances and demand better conditions. I think you'd find people working dawn till dusk, 3 months in a row with almost no breaks, living in shacks that are actually made for animals without like running water.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And because nobody is, um, what's the word? What's the word?
I think
Because
because
no,
people don't know.
yeah, because nobody's like there's no inspections. Like nobody's monitoring it.
I think if most I've even though I've worked in all these war zones like Iraq and Sierra Leone, I still believe fundamentally in the goodness of humanity. Most people are super nice people. Um, that's not maybe true for like all billionaires. Most billionaires probably not so super nice people, but most
Yeah.
normal humans are really
I mean,
good.
billionaires shouldn't exist.
I
A
agree.
lot of money for one person.
I agree. But I think that most American consumers, for example, have no idea. And if they knew, they would not accept.
Totally.
And because they don't know, they don't make noise to demand that companies deliver more ethical, sustainable coffee with like more monitoring and evaluation and human rights and living income and
Mhm.
no slavery and no debt bondage and no child labor. And maybe also don't kill any people trying to form unions or harass and attack them.
Mhm.
And then I think if consumers had the awareness and were mobilized, you would see there'd be much better law enforcement in the producer countries, and you'd see the industry would get serious
Totally.
about monitoring.
Absolutely. Which takes me to the next point of certified coffee, because an
Mhm.
estimated 55% of global coffee supplied was certified by sustainability schemes like Fair Trade, Rainforest Alliance, and 4C in 2022. More than half of these certified coffees were like, quote, certified good. And yet we're still seeing massive deforestation and slavery. So, for the listeners who've been buying certified sustainable coffee, thinking they're doing a right thing, I'm buying certified sustainable, what do they need to know about the labels? And what would you tell someone that's like, oh, I buy certified sustainable or fair trade or whatever?
Well, I'm like a glass half full person, or because we're talking about coffee, maybe it's mug half full person.
Yes.
And I don't think that the certifications are meaningless, but I think that they are by and large very incomplete.
Mm,
So they do stuff, but they don't do enough stuff. So here's an example of what I mean. Pam, let's say I'm your student, we're in school, and you say, then please sing the alphabet for me. And I'm like, okay, Professor Pam, A, B, C, Q, R, S, Z. And you'd be like,
you
that
said
was like
it.
not really the whole alphabet, my dear. You fail. That was like good that you had a couple letters, but it's not enough.
Not quite.
And I think that certifications are a bit like that, right? So you think about organic. A lot of folks buy organic because they think that means their coffee is good. And the truth is that it's nice to not poison the planet and not poison the workers, especially if there's going to be a lot of kids in the
Mm,
coffee.
mhm.
Not poisoning kids is vital. Like, it is literally super dangerous for kids' bodies to be
Totally.
exposed to HHPs, highly hazardous pesticides. There's a reason why the International Labor Organization says that if you have child labor plus pesticides, it's called hazardous child labor. Like, it's extra bad.
Wow.
So if you're not poisoning kids and workers on the planet, like, good on you. Because we're in a mass extinction and you shouldn't do that. And I'm proud of you. It would be nice if organic also was deforestation free, which they will tell you themselves. They don't look at deforestation. They say it's like not in my wheelhouse. It would be nice if organic also provided a living income.
Uh-huh.
Pam, there are basically no farm workers that get a living wage in coffee, like anywhere,
Oh my god.
including in certified coffee. And most coffee farmers do not get a living income price, which is like the price that it would have to be for their coffee. They can sell it at that price. It means they can live on it. And that price is calculated, if I'm farmer X, married to Pam, we have 2 kids, we have a little house, we have basic education and medical expenses and food and clothing expensive. This is how we can live. This is the price our coffee has to achieve for us to be able to have living income. Anything less than that
Yeah.
means we're in like poverty and hardship. Almost no coffee farmers are earning a living income. And that is literally what it sounds like, living. So organic like doesn't give you that. It doesn't guarantee a living income price.
That's wild.
And they will just say, we're organic. That's not our thing. And the other certifications is the same. There's not a single certification that pays a living wage to farm workers. Not one. I know. You seem surprised. I was surprised. It's shocking, but it's true. People can Google it. You can check it. You can call the certifications. Please, in
Yeah.
fact, please, if you're listening, call the certifications and write them and tweet at them or whatever. Like, so, okay, I think if you're paying people starvation prices and wages, how can you say that you're sustainable? That's not very nice. It's not very truthful. It's kind of diddling consumers. So yeah, every good thing that the certifications do is awesome because if like your little student has managed to learn 8 letters of the alphabet, that's better than 0.
Mm-hmm.
But these certification schemes should be singing the whole effing alphabet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Because that's what consumers think when they pay their hard-earned dollars. Right? They think that, oh, I'm buying something ethical.
Well, especially if the price point is higher, which usually
Oh,
is.
thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
So where's that going if it's not going to the farmer?
Well, it should be going to this comprehensive sustainability package where we should have coffee that is a living income without rape, without slavery, without child labor. We should have coffee that has gender equality, that has workers' rights. Kids go to school coffee instead of kids work coffee. We should have coffee that doesn't have deforestation. That's regenerative agroforestry with lots of beautiful trees. Do you know if you do agroforestry coffee, it's like 17 times, 18 times the biodiversity. You can have between 2 and 7 times more carbon. It's magic for Mother Earth. We've just chosen, by and large, to do really weird, shitty, mean, bad coffee that's like hurting farmers and hurting the planet.
And it doesn't even
Why?
taste good.
And the truth is we could all have good ethical coffee. There
Yes.
are companies that do that. There are farms that do that. There are co-ops that do that. We know how. We just lack the will to make
Mm.
our global coffee industry ethical and sustainable. So we have to wake up and like smell the deforestation and change it, make them change.
Okay, so recently I interviewed Marce from her nonprofit. It's called Azul,
Mhm.
and it's all about the ocean. And one of the many things she talked about was how there's a lot of activism around the forest, the trees that we see. But she was like, there's also trees under the
Oh,
ocean.
yes.
And the ocean actually absorbs a lot
This
of.
kelp forest.
Yes. So when it comes to one cup of coffee, so I have my cup of coffee right here. It takes 140 liters of water to make a single 125 milliliters of coffee. This is more than a 16-minute shower. And most of the waste from coffee processing gets dumped into rivers, polluting the water to downstream communities, going back to like the people always get not just the earth, but also people are being affected by it. And
That's right.
so, what is the responsible act that we can do to just be good people, good drinking people?
Oh my god. Coffee and oceans are intertwined. Pam, I'm so glad you brought it up because most people are like, "Oceans, let's talk about whales and overfishing." And I'm like, "And coffee." Do you know what you said about chemicals is so important. Coffee is one of the most HHP saturated crops. It's a highly chemically treated crop. It's like coffee is addicted to these poisons like glyphosate and stuff like that that are just terrible. And where do we think those poisons go? We spray them all over our crops. They wind up in the aquifers or in the rivers, and they go from the rivers into the oceans, and they are going straight into those whales and those dolphins and those turtles. And you're right, it's not just the chemicals
Yeah.
from like spraying against pests in coffee. It's also when you treat coffee, these effluents, right? Like the mucilage from treating coffee, because you have to, wash it and stuff, They go straight into the rivers. There's hardly any companies that treat any effluent in their coffee production. Almost none. So it's going,
Wow.
again, straight to the dolphins. Gift from your coffee cup to the dolphin
Oh,
is like acidified rivers filled with glyphosate. And not only that, if you're drinking your coffee in a to-go plastic cup or a paper cup that you think is compostable and recyclable and whatever, think again, almost all those cups are plastic lined.
yeah.
So they're made actually from virgin forests lined with plastic, and they wind up in the ocean.
Mm.
And thank you again, we're giving another gift to the whales and the dolphins and the
Oh my
turtles. So
gosh.
actually, what's weird is that we've siloed how we see the world. We've decided humans are
Correct.
different from animals and humans are different from the planet. But we've also siloed like, okay, I'm gonna do ocean protection. I'm gonna work on forests. I'm gonna work on agriculture. I'm like, well, forests and agriculture and oceans, they're all so connected. When we poop on the forests, we do poop on oceans too, because actually forests are rain machines. If you destroy enough forests at scale, it changes the whole like meteorological landscape.
Mm.
And it contributes to big changes in oceans, which need the rainfall to be the way it has been. Like,
Yeah.
and then things can bounce back, right? When you have a destroyed ocean, of course, it has an effect on what's happening on land and the weather patterns. I think, like, if we decide it's okay to acidify and poison and fill the ocean with plastic, we should not be surprised that global weather patterns change, which then affects our crops. We are all connected. It's the circle of life, only it's not like circle of life, happy, happy.
Mm.
It's like, okay, we're fucking up the circle of life. Fix
I
it before it's too
know.
late.
Ugh. I have so many more facts. I'll put them in the show notes actually because I think they're important for listeners to read them. So listeners, go to the show notes when you listen to this
Yeah,
episode so you
and
can.
also I think the show notes can be a good place to show hope, right? You can get a to-go cup instead of a throwaway cup. You can just sit your butt down in that cafe and drink it in their cup and then like have 5 minutes of peace and quiet and enjoyment. It's like a gift, right? You can get coffee that doesn't have chemicals. You can check to make sure that the company treated their effluent. Like every bad thing that we do, we can be champions and heroes to change that, right? That
Totally.
is like the most important thing to remember. Not the bad stuff, but what can we do to fix the bad stuff?
Exactly. So for the listener that's like, "Oh my gosh, where do I begin?" So of course you just mentioned some, have a to-go cup. I always bring I'm like the señora de las bolsas, like I always have like multiple
Me too.
bags and multiple like I have my water tumbler and then I have my coffee one and people are like, "Do you really need to?" Yes, because what if I need some tea? I don't want to use a cup. I don't always do this, but always have something. So you mentioned that the drinking at the coffee shop, making sure that your coffee is sourced. Of course, going to Coffee Watch, you have resources there. What would be the top three things that people could get started with today to make sure they're doing good?
I think the perfect is the enemy of the good, and the most important thing is don't be sad, don't be mad, don't beat yourself up. Just do great things going forward.
Mm,
And it doesn't have to be perfect going forward. You can do things incrementally. I would say first thing that's like maybe the easiest, don't ever get a to-go cup ever again in your life. Make that like your New Year's resolution or something.
I know.
Drink it in the store or bring your mug or like buy a mug and then gift that mug to someone else or whatever. But like Señora de las Bolsas is like spot on. That's one. And then the second is buy coffee from the heart. Buy coffee that's
Mm,
ethical and sustainable and matches your values. And so that usually might require something like a half hour of your life where you sit down and you say, like, where am I in the world? For example, if you're in London, you could get coffee at Kiss the Hippo. If you're in Denmark, you can get coffee from Slow Forest Coffee. If you're in the US, you can get wherever it is that you are. If you're in Indonesia, you can get orangutan coffee. There's always good, small, ethical coffee companies that match your values. If your listeners are mostly in the US, like Smithsonian Bird Friendly Coffee is one of the most as like high impact certification schemes.
Mm-hmm.
So try a bunch of these ethical coffees, get some different bags, test them, and decide like which one is your favorite or your 5 favorites. Then you never have to do that research again. You can just double down on the one or the ones that you love the most and buy that. You just buy from the heart, you buy mindfully. And if you really love it, it can be a gift. It's what you bring as a gift when somebody invites you over for brunch. It's what you bring as a little like Christmas gift to a Christmas party or an
Yes.
office party or a birthday or
Introduce
whatever,
people to it.
to introduce people to ethical coffee. And if you know that they love coffee, you can say like, I love you. You love coffee. This coffee loves the earth. Like I got it for you.
I
You
love
know?
that.
And I think it's not just about buying mindfully for yourself and buying from the heart for yourself. You can become an ambassador for ethical coffee by gifting it to other people or by changing how the institutions that you're a part of. Are you in a university? Change your uni's coffee. Are you in a big office building? Get your office building to change. Is your sister in law running a cafe? Is your brother in law like the manager at a restaurant? Wherever it is that you can change an institution, change because that will have an even bigger impact. You can become like an ambassador for good, and the last thing I would say that is maybe harder for some people because it's a little more confrontational, but I would say like it's the coffee ninja move. Go on social and just wherever you buy a coffee, tell that company on social media, I care about sustainability. Either I am buying your coffee because I love how sustainable you are, that makes them happy, or I buy your coffee and I just found out it's not very sustainable and I'm really mad at you and I want you to change. And I like might even drop you and go for something else. Companies panic when they get lots of messages like that. So being like a coffee ninja on social media is really important too. It doesn't cost anything, just takes a couple minutes of your life.
I love that. I want to show you, I worked with artisans in Mexico to create coffee sleeves. And
Oh,
so when I don't bring my coffee cup, at least I don't use a one-time use sleeve. So I
that is
always put this.
beautiful. That is beautiful. That looks like a perfect Christmas present since we're getting into the
I know.
season.
I do, and I sell them on my website.
Yeah,
We have low
fantastic.
inventory, so listeners, get on it if you need to, because we're about to take them down because we don't have a lot left.
But yeah, every little thing like that makes such a big difference. People don't realize that they
Mhm.
have this immense, beautiful power. And I think many of us, we doom scroll through the news and we think like, oh, the world's a bad place. What can I do about it? It's overwhelming. But actually, no, you are a rock star just waiting to happen.
Mhm. Yes, for sure. I love that. Okay, last few questions to close. Thank you, Adele, so much for all your work. And I mean, we could literally sit here for 6 hours because I have enough questions for you. What question did your inner child wonder that now you can answer today?
I think my inner child wondered whether I deserved to be loved.
Mm.
And now that I met my husband, I know that the answer is yes. He has
And
taught
you have a
me.
child.
And I have a child who loves me beyond all reason.
I love that. What's on your desk? What's like a random item on your desk that keeps you
Oh my
grounded?
god, my desk is embarrassingly cluttered, Pam. But a random item on my desk is a little nose spray that you
Okay.
spray because my whole family has a flu right now.
Okay. So that keeps you like together today.
It's a little bit like office plus pharmacy plus some like toddler entertainment.
Nice. Nice. And what connects you to your main character energy?
Oh, I think that there's two things that keep me energized. One is love, just like waking up in the morning, getting a kiss from my husband, and snuggling and kissing my baby. This like just fills me with soul energy. And the other is yoga. That sounds so stupid and cliche, and probably like a kabuki theater
It works.
cliche of myself. But yeah, somehow when I walk out of a good yoga class, I just feel immensely powerful, and I don't know, it just
I
does
love
it
that.
for me.
And the very last question, do you have a remedio you want to share with us?
I do. I really believe in fresh ginger, fresh lemon, fresh lime with honey. In fact, we've been doing this for like a week now as my husband and baby had the flu. And I think, it's so stupid, but it's simple, it's healthy, it makes you feel so much better.
Those are the
Yeah.
best.
Honey just smooths your little throat and you're getting vitamins, and the ginger kind of clears up your stuffy nose.
Nice. Love that. Well, Adele, thank you so much for coming to Cafe con Pam and sharing all the things. There's so much, I think, truly. This is like we could do a whole series to talk about coffee and your work. But it's amazing. It's a good little taste. Definitely tell us where everyone can find you and learn more about your work and how we can be better coffee consumers.
Pam, you are just like the sweetosaurus rex. I am very touched. Really, I'm honored to be on your show. And no, I'm so grateful to have had this conversation with you. It was very fun. Our website is coffeewatch.org, and you can just find us on social media at the top of the website. There's all of our little social, and we are on almost all the platforms, I think, so people can follow us whether you're on TikTok or Insta or LinkedIn or whatever.
Love that. And we'll have it all linked in the show notes. Could we talk about the coffee scorecard? Or is it not
Yes.
ready?
Oh, it's getting
That got
ready.
me
We
really excited.
Oh, yeah. Well, Pam, I will circle back with you when it launches. I think it's gonna
Please
launch
do.
in the fall of next year. We have, this thing called the coffee scorecard in the works to rank and grade 90% of global coffee, or thereabouts, we think. And in there, there's some huge plantation companies, there's some traders, there's some roasters, there's companies that just do consumer facing coffee shops, that serve a lot of coffee to people.
Yeah.
There's companies that do all of it. Some of them are just, they sell bags, but it's like the biggest in the world. And we rank and grade them on different sustainability issues like living income and chemicals, like, glyphosate and all that. We rank and grade them on deforestation and climate, on human rights, on gender, because coffee's so unequal for women, and it's really important to push for gender equality in coffee.
Mm.
And yeah, so all these big issues, companies get a grade, then they get a combined total grade, and then they get ranked. We have like expert graders that are going to do all the grading. Coffee Watch doesn't look at any answers. We try to keep it completely expert driven and have real methodological approach that's grounded in the best that we've learned from the chocolate scorecard that I sort of founded in 2018, which has gotten bigger and better every year. So we're sort of standing on the shoulders of giants. And that scorecard was inspired by the Greenpeace Carting Away the Ocean scorecard for sustainable seafood. So that was already standing on the shoulders of
Wow.
giants. So we're just trying to learn and basically deliver the best, most methodologically sound scorecard that's really accurate and fair. And the idea is to shake up the industry and get people to start competing with each other to see who can be more sustainable,
Yeah,
who can get the top award and who can escape getting the worst performer
totally.
slot. And yeah, so right now we're actually discussing with a number of companies. They sent around the questionnaire. They all give feedback, and surprisingly, or maybe not surprisingly, a lot of their feedback was amazing and
Nice.
is making the questionnaire much stronger. And then when we finish this process, we'll send everyone the questionnaire. Hopefully, most companies will answer, and then we'll grade everybody. And people that don't get a grade will just be at the bottom. They'll
Okay.
get a word for bad behavior.
Wow, that's very cool. So you let us know. Please do let us know when that's
Yeah,
ready.
yeah, yeah, for
We can talk
sure.
about it because
Yeah,
I love that.
yeah.
Okay, well, Tell, thank you so much. This was super
Pam,
fun.
thank you.
Bueno, that was my conversation con Adele. Y la neta, yo no sé por qué estoy diciendo neta tanto, pues es que me está saliendo lo Mexican. But truly, I'm still sitting with it. There's something about talking to someone who's dedicating their entire life to exposing truths that powerful industries want to keep hidden that just stays with you, right? O sea, yo no sé, pero espero que you're thinking about this like I am, like so much. What struck me the most wasn't simply just uncovering the facts, because the facts are wild, but it's that Etel doesn't do this work from a place of perfection or purity. She's a mom. She's dealing with her whole family having the flu during this conversation. She admits her desk is cluttered with nose spray and toddler toys. She speaks 9 languages, but sometimes they all blend into portuñol. She's human. She's still showing up to take on the Starbucks, Nestle, and an entire industry worth billions. And that's the type of medicine I need to hear, and I hope you do too. Because for so many of us, especially us raised in calladita culture, we think that we have to have it all figured out before we speak up. We think we have to be perfect before we take action. We think our anger or our heartbreak at injustice is something to suppress rather than something to follow. Pero Etel showed me that your rage at what's unjust could become your compass. And the moment in Guatemala when she was held at gunpoint could have silenced her forever. I mean, when I asked her, I was like, yo, that's intense. Pero instead, it became the thing that anchored her and her entire life's work. And there's something really powerful about that for those of us learning to unmute ourselves, to reclaim our voices, to trust that what we see and feel and know is important. I also loved how she held the complexity without shame. She didn't make me feel bad for drinking coffee. She didn't make any of us feel bad for being a part of a broken system. She just said, well, this is what's going on, and this is what we can do about it. It's your choice to see if you want to fight for something better. And that's leadership. That's how you create change without creating paralysis. And frankly, when I asked her what keeps her grounded, and she said love and yoga and fresh ginger tea with honey, let's go. Because the work is dangerous and people have been murdered for exposing labor abuses in coffee, and she still shows up. And it's not because she has like a lot of confidence or because she may feel invincible, pero it's because she shared that she has practices that resource her. Super important. Because she knows you can't pour from an empty cup. Because she's learned that sustaining the fight means sustaining yourself. And what I'm taking from this conversation, and I hope you are too, is that your anger at injustice is not too much. It's your anchor, it's your push to take action. Follow it. Being complicit in broken systems doesn't mean you're powerless. Awareness can lead to action, even if it's a tiny, tiny action, because systemic change requires both personal courage and collective strategy. It's lawsuits and legislation, consumer pressure and cultural shifts, all of it working together. Todos tenemos un granito de arena que poner y cada paso importa, because nobody can do this work alone or on empty. We all need love. We all need practices. We all need collaboration, community. We all need our version of ginger tea with honey. Y bueno, si este episodio te movió en alguna manera, please share it with someone. Share it with tu hermana, con tu prima, con la comadre, with a friend that's always trying to make better choices but feels overwhelmed. Share it with the business owner in your life who sources coffee. Share with, maybe you do. Share with anyone who needs permission to let their anger turn into action. And if you want to learn more about Etelle's work, of course, we have all the links in the show notes. Go to coffeewatch.org and keep your eyes out for the coffee scorecard. Bueno, como siempre, thank you so, so much for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for choosing to grow with me, for choosing to put me in your ears week after week. I promise I don't take it for granted. Oh, thank you, thank you. Y como siempre, sigue brillando. See you next week. Café con Pam is created con mucho amor by our small but mighty team. Content production by Nancy Jaimes. Podcast management by Maru Linardi. Social media and marketing by Brenda Figueroa. And me, your host, Pam Covarrubias. To keep the cafecito brewing and the healing flowing, join the Supporters Club for only $5 a month and access early episodes, behind-the-scenes vibes, and exclusive minisodes you won't hear anywhere else. Screenshot this episode and tag me and share what resonated. I love seeing your takeaways. Follow on your favorite podcast platform and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Let's keep the conversation going with us on social media at Café con Pan Podcast, because your voice always matters there. We love being on Instagram and Facebook. Gracias for listening to Café con Pan, a Spread Ideas Move People production. For more episodes, guest info, or resources, visit cafeconpam.com. And if you're healing from calladita culture and don't know where to start, you can take the quiz. cafeconpam.com/quiz for Tia Wisdom and cariño just for you.
Sabrosura pa' ti que